WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly,
the longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio.
And he's obviously Michael Cole.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Talking wrestling.
Yeah.
Because that's what this show's about. That's what we've been doing for over 16 years.
No. It's about sports entertainment.
And now here are your hosts of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon and Lucas DeSangro.
Will you stop marking out over there?
Sorry.
Move over, kid. I'm taking your microphone.
You're shallow, you know that?
I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. I don't remember what the hell I do anymore. Shut up! There's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Alongside the ever-energetic Lucas, the intern DeSangro, I'm your host, Fearon, and man, do we have a lot to get into. And I guess I should be pretty much candid and upfront right off the bat. We are live on tape, or I guess more accurately, because people don't really use tapes anymore, we're live on CD.
We're not even live. We're pre-recording on a Thursday night, and I don't care that we're breaking kayfabe. This is just...
You're just obliterating the fourth wall. Good job there, Lucas.
Hey, Colt Cabana, how you doing? Or no, I can't use that. Sorry. I can't think of anybody else. So.
Yeah, no, this is not the summer of Twitch. It's not even the summer. It's like 30 degrees outside. It's winter. It's cold.
Hey, I woke up this morning at 30 degrees, which was a record because the past 2 mornings I could see my own breath in my father's car. So it was like 7 degrees. What is up? But they decided, fire on all cylinders right after Christmas because we had the weirdest December ever, and then January it's like right in the face like a super kick.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I was going to say, speaking of, well, no, there's not really any way to say speaking of super kicks. I don't know that. There's not really any transition for that. I tried to and failed miserably.
There really is because it's an overused move, and probably everybody that's been signed has used it.
Including you down at the Monster Factory.
I just...
Mr. Super Tick.
I wasn't really going to...
You weren't really going there? Okay.
I mean, it was... I wouldn't use it as a signature. I would just, every now and then,
Just kind of bring it out there?
Just because, why not?
Yeah, because that's a good reason as any.
Everybody else
why
is doing
not?
Super kick, 450 splash, just, who's watching?
Yeah, way to get your shit in. Good job.
We can say that. It's pre-recorded.
Yeah, don't take that too liberally, though, because I have to edit this, and the less editing I have to do, the better. So
all I'm saying is we should just do episodes like this when we have to pre-record them. Just put them up on YouTube, and then share them to the Facebook page because it's just special. It's not we don't get to pre-record all the time,
Yeah, but some things are funny or bleeped.
True.
Like OSW's African Vince, for example. Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're just going to leave it at that. You can look up OSW review on YouTube.
It's the mailbag number 2, I believe.
Yeah, it's one of their mailbags. I think mailbag 1, 2, and 3.
I think it might have been. It's one of the first.
The first
I think
mailbag.
It might have been the third one actually.
They've only done 2 so far.
They did. They did 1.
It was
2, and 3,
okay.
And
it was
4,
the
5,
they
6.
put the 3 together. But yes, that's. Man,
Yeah.
we're 3 minutes into the show and we're already going on a million different tangents. And
So
there's
it's just
a
like
lot.
every other Saturday.
Yeah, pretty much.
But this time we actually have news to share. So why don't we?
We always have news to share.
Yeah, but not as big as this has been. Like the best and worst week in wrestling.
What do you know? This is the first show that you've been in the last month and a half.
I was here on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, you were here this past Saturday. All right, so this is the second show that you've been in the last couple of months.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm oblivious to wrestling in general. I just haven't been able to make the show.
True, you're just oblivious to the show.
That's not true. That's not true. That is not fair.
I'll note the time on that. That's gonna have to take up the old one.
Yeah, because, deeper voice. Not by much, but, that is not fair. It's so bad. My voice.
As your voice continues to crack over there, Peter Brady.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, where to start? I guess, we'll start with the news that broke, as of the time we're recording this over the course of the last 24 hours, but in the middle of the week, John Cena undergoing shoulder surgery. That's right. He had the surgery Thursday morning. He announced it late Wednesday night via Twitter. He said, rather upside-down start to 2016 as tomorrow I will head to Birmingham for shoulder surgery. Life's full of setbacks, but hashtag never give up.
You know, somewhere in his office, Triple H and or Vince McMahon are just looking at the WrestleMania poster going, we are so screwed. Look at how many people are on the injury list. Look at how many people are going to miss WrestleMania. Look at how many, like pretty much now no longer going to happen marquee matchups are gone.
For what is supposed to be the biggest WrestleMania in terms of attendance in history at AT&T Stadium, over 100,000 people, and you have no Randy Orton, you have no Seth Rollins, you have no Cesaro, not that he was necessarily going to be that high on there, but still pretty notable name.
No Sting.
No Sting, he's got the neck injury going on.
So that whole dream of Sting versus Taker isn't going to happen. In fact, who can we put Taker up against? You know,
for his swan song, that's an excellent question. And now, potentially, no Cena. Some people have said that he's already declared out for WrestleMania. As of when we're recording this, no timetable has been set for how long Cena's going to be out.
You know what the other thing is? Depending on whether or not WWE pulls their head out of their rear ends and decides to clear Daniel Bryan, probably no Daniel Bryan either.
Who? No, it's out of sight, out of mind. No,
I said Daniel Bryan, not Chris Benoit or CM Punk.
Or Hulk Hogan.
Or anybody else that's been buried by WWE, like Scott Steiner. We could go through a list.
Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett, Scott Steiner, who's Shane Douglas.
And we're off the rails. It's like every 3 minutes we go off the rails.
Fred Durst. List goes on and on. But yeah, it's really unfortunate. But that means, like, looking at it now, we still have Triple H. We might have The Rock for WrestleMania.
He's definitely going to be. He has confirmed he's going to be there. He hasn't confirmed that he's going to wrestle.
We might have Undertaker. Well, I mean, we're definitely going to have Undertaker. We might have Brock Lesnar. I'm thinking, if anything, and I'm saying this is just a shot in the dark. By some miracle, they managed to get Steve Austin to wrestle one more match.
Yeah, I don't really see that.
I know it's a shot
point.
in the dark, but I'm saying a lot of fans are still hoping for a Brock Lesnar Steve Austin match, which I don't know. I wouldn't complain. Don't think it's going to happen.
I was going to say you have a better chance of me finding a girlfriend, but that's a whole nother story. Also, in other news, Brock Lesnar has officially been advertised, not for WrestleMania, but for the Fastlane pay-per-view on February 21st.
Not even the Rumble?
Not as of yet, but he's advertised. He's not. It's weird. He's not advertised on the WWE website's live event page. He's not advertised for the Royal Rumble, but if you look at the website of the Quicken Loans Arena, which is hosting Fastlane, he's advertised there.
Where's the Quicken Loans Arena at?
Oh, gosh. I want to say Tennessee. Way to throw me a curveball there. I'm going to have to quickly look that up.
No, please don't. We have a show to do. God forbid.
What?
You know what? The big thing is, though, maybe we could see a couple of people from NXT get called up and have some matches there. You never know. Especially with the new signings. We could have some potential, people coming in to wrestle some good matches.
Yeah, I goofed that up. It's not in Tennessee. It's in Cleveland, Ohio.
I told you not to look it up, Fearon. We have a show to do.
And we're doing a show, but I figured while you were talking, I'd be able to pull up the information.
Well, anyway, I think the other big story we should probably address is...
Oh, yeah. There's a lot that we've got to get into, and we've got the full hour to get into it here.
Maybe more. I don't know.
Maybe more. What are you, program directing all of a sudden? Trying to overtake Sean Lerman?
No. I am in no position to lead, and you know that very well.
True. You haven't even done it with this show.
Yeah. Well, I have once.
Oh, that's right. You did once.
When Fearon, crap, I'm late for school. Don't need money, bum, don't need fame. Cue Back to the Future scene. Don't need no credit cards to ride. Yeah.
Yeah, only I didn't have a skateboard or a hoverboard.
Yeah. Great Scott.
That was pretty much what. Well, I don't think I'd said Great Scott. I might have said something else. I can't remember what it is at the time, and even if I could, I really don't want to create more editing for myself. So,
Yeah, true.
I will admit it probably was something profane. But no, you did hold yourself well in that. Although I think really Denny kind of took the lead on it, and
Yeah, I was trying to get a point across and just throwing me questions, but
so it's like any other week, just with Denny at the helm instead of me.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, you showed up a lot more back then. I am so getting hit once we're off.
You're
the
gonna
air here.
you're gonna get chopped. I can guarantee that.
Probably after this the first break here.
For those of you that don't know, that's like a little inside joke because Ron and I become such good friends that whenever one of us says something stupid, we get flare chopped.
Well, something stupid or controversial or over the line or
In the other person's eyes, which sometimes deserves a counter chop because maybe it wasn't controversial or over the line. They just maybe just wanted to be a jackwagon and chop somebody.
I'm just going to move on.
Yeah, good idea. So
All right. Well, I think we should save the other big news of the week that's been kind of spreading rampantly throughout the wrestling world. We'll save that for the second segment.
sure, we also have big news for the Rumble too.
Yeah. I was going to say that. Well, that. Yeah, we can get into that now. We got a couple of minutes that we can delve more into.
No, because I sort of want to weigh in on this, and it might take a little bit more than what we have time for.
Well, I mean, we've got maybe another 4 minutes until the break, so.
Okay, yeah, we can give it a try.
Well, of course, I mean, from this past Monday on Raw, which I was going to say you can take the lead on this, I guess, a little bit.
We had the main event of Sheamus versus Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And who, would you ask, was the referee? Would it be, Mike Chioda?
It was me, Lucas. It was me all along, Lucas.
You smug old and I'm talking about Vince McMahon. So hold your horses.
I didn't think you meant me. He's
God.
twice my age.
Yeah, good point. And I believe they also announced that the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Rumble will be defended in the 30-man Royal Rumble match. Not since 1992 have we seen such a feat, and let me tell you why I'm not really digging it.
Oh, go for it.
I don't know. It's just for me, and don't get me wrong, I'm still going to love the heck out of the Rumble match because it's the Royal Rumble. Anything can happen. But it's just the fact of, I've never been, back when it was in the 90s, they were still trying to get stuff figured out for the Royal Rumble. But now it's sort of been a staple that the winner gets a title shot at WrestleMania. It's about the art of the chase for me. It's the road to WrestleMania. So the fact that you're already getting what you were, pretty much you're already getting the prize once you get past step one, doesn't make sense. It would be like somebody winning the NFC Championship and then somebody just handing you the Lombardi Trophy. Does that?
Which, ironically enough, the Royal Rumble is going head-to-head with the Conference Championship games. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did think I heard that, which is fun. But why would you? It just doesn't. Why have WrestleMania if you're just gonna give them the big spectacle thing?
At the Royal Rumble 2 months before the big event, and what does this mean for WrestleMania? Does that mean that the last person eliminated gets the title shot?
Yeah. What exactly are we? It just doesn't make sense at all. Who's going to be the number one contender? It's the whole point of the big battle royal these days in this time period is we're going to see this person is going to WrestleMania, blah, blah, blah. Not going to WrestleMania.
They still are
as the
to defend the title.
But that doesn't. You pretty much just gave them a big chore. It's all about winning the title at WrestleMania, becoming the champion at WrestleMania, because that's I've been dreaming about this since I was a kid. It's like, I'm betting you if Daniel Bryan won the title at the Royal Rumble and had to defend it at WrestleMania, there wouldn't have been so much anticipation.
Oh, you're right. It's a
art of the chase. It's the build up to the big, the climax in the story. It's
anticlimactic. Thank you. That was the word I was trying to find.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Find as I go. I blame it on my cold. That's why you've been hearing me perennially cough off to the side here, because I am probably in no condition to be doing a show, but I'm doing one anyway because I'm a professional and that's what I do. Yeah. Or at least that's what I'd like to think. You might tend to argue otherwise. And maybe a few listeners might as well.
It's just, it doesn't make sense. I'm still going to watch it. It's the Rumble. I want to enjoy the road to WrestleMania. This is like a great time of the year for wrestling when they try to fire on all cylinders, which they should be doing all year, but that's none of my business, Sips Tea.
Well, right now, I was going to say a few of those pistons are lacking oil, if you wanted to use the firing on cylinders analogy.
I asked I was actually asking this question of who could be a potential candidate to go up against Reigns at WrestleMania, and now it's just like, it just seems like everything that's going wrong, or that when the ball could be dropped, they're deciding to drop the ball, and it's not the time to drop the ball. This is like the biggest WrestleMania ever, pretty much what they're saying, Well,
I do have a counter-argument to that, and I'm going to get into that on the other side of a timeout, where I think you may still get your chase, and I'll just kind of leave it at that. But before we take care of some business, let me let you know about our friends over at George's Cards and Collectibles. They're your place for sports and wrestling memorabilia, as well as legendary sports figure appearances. For wrestling figure aficionados, George's just got the first figures of Bayley and Kevin Owens. Good old KO there. I wonder if they'll have a few other ones coming up not too... Well, I guess it depends on whether or not they're signed. But I'm getting ahead of myself.
I just can't wait until their Elite figures come out,
You are a fan of their Elite figures. That's for sure. Also fresh in stock on George's on the football scene. Collectible figures of rookie quarterbacks Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota, as well as wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr., none of which you'll be seeing in the NFL playoffs. Well, they still have some strides to make. What can I say? Make sure to get your sports collectibles at any of George's 3 locations. Their original store at 7755 New Falls Road in Fairless Hills, on the lower level of the Oxford Valley Mall next to the Sears Court, and in the Neshaminy Mall at the AMC Theater Wing. For more info on upcoming signings, collectibles, and more, give George's a call at 215-943-2475 or go to georgescollectibles.com. Here we are live on tape because we're, at this particular moment that you're listening to this, on our way down to the Monster Factory for a huge show that we're going to tell you about later in the hour. Fearon and Lucas DeSangro here on Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Got the Luigi death stare from Fearon, so he might have...
I didn't give you the Luigi death stare. That's not true.
Breaking kayfabe.
Breaking kayfabe. Gonna break something else during this commercial.
There we go. That's what I like to see.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your hosts, Fearon and Lucas DeSangro.
Are we getting into that controversy again?
I know how it feels, and it's not fun.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Alongside Twitch, Lucas DeSangro. I'm your host, Fearon Derry. We're talking all kinds of things wrestling. Now, right before the break, we got into I shouldn't say we. You kind of gave a very heated opinion regarding the current state of the Royal Rumble.
Well, all of my opinions are usually heated, It's very passionate. I love this business. I love this industry. And I think that WWE should be making better decisions. But I'm not really allowed to say a lot because I'm a student of the game now. So,
Exactly, and this is why, as both a similar student of the game and a broadcast journalist, as I have been for a while, I'm going to provide the devil's advocate counterpoint to your umbrage and issue.
Even when you weren't a student of the game, you'd always be devil's advocate, so I'm not really that surprised.
Well, this one you might
and
actually...
And you weren't even being Sean O'Hare when you were doing it.
This one you might actually agree with, though.
Okay.
Which is a rarity, I know.
No, Stop it.
Now, regarding the Royal Rumble, there is a possibility that you may still get your chase up to WrestleMania, but who's to say that it isn't Roman Reigns who will be doing the chasing? Let's say he loses the title at the Rumble, finds some way to earn a title match at Fastlane, and then challenges whoever the champion is at WrestleMania, and he gets his big moment. The fans are behind him. He's the superhero that Vince McMahon wants him to be, and he's the face of the company. You are hanging your head in, I don't know if it's shame, disgust, frustration, or a combination of all three.
I like Roman Reigns, but seriously, how much longer are we going to have him, chase the title? He has it. Let him just keep it until Mania. Have him drop it to somebody. Yada, yada, yada. Why do we have to have him, either, there's two ways of playing this out. And it's it's pretty much the same as last year. Either Roman wins the Rumble again, main event's Mania, or Roman loses the title and gets to main event Mania. What the Can't we have any... I didn't actually say it, but can't we have any variety? What in the bejesus is going on?
What variety are you looking for? Who do you want to see up there?
I'd rather...
Your boy Punk's gone. Jeff Hardy's leg's still injured.
Yeah, I know that, Fearon. I'm not saying them. They're not even with the company. I'm saying, give... I don't know. At this point, it's probably their best option. Or it would be nice to see, title versus title. Or maybe even see Owens go up against Roman Reigns. Or, I don't know. The whole thing of Reigns being... It's just the same as last year.
But you had no problem with... Well, I guess I should say, to counter-argue, you have a problem with the people who didn't like John Cena, even though they were saying it's the same thing year after year after year after year.
Yeah, but when it comes
what's
to
the difference?
But when it comes to this is WrestleMania. John Cena hasn't, okay, he didn't headline 2 WrestleManias in a row. We did 22 and 23. Yeah, he did, but it wasn't as the Rumble winner, and it's just
true because he has won the Rumble twice, I believe.
But it wasn't the 2 years in a row, and he may have headlined 2 years in a row, but he was the champion both times. So it's just the way of it is there's the Rumble and WrestleMania have to be sort of 2 separate entities,
But they have to coexist with one another.
Yeah, but they have to be
one leads into the other.
Yeah, one leads into the other, but you can't have two of the same. I don't know. I just don't really like it that much.
How about Shawn Michaels in '95 and '96 when he won back-to-back years?
What I'm saying is it's the same storyline. It's been the same storyline the entire year. The same thing. Roman Reigns this close to it. He wins. He finally won the title. Gets it taken. Just let him have his run with the title already. And then...
So then who do you think should face him at WrestleMania?
I wouldn't be...
I know, I'm grilling you with the hard questions here, just...
I wouldn't have a problem... Yeah, I know. That's what you do. I wouldn't have a problem if Ambrose faced off at him for the title. And give Ambrose a run at the title that he, and not a dusty finish. Or maybe... And again, this is a shot in the dark, but maybe Bryan comes back and does something with it and gets the run that he probably should have gotten because...
Until injuries precluded that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I see the potential with a chase for Roman Reigns, even if it comes across as same old.
I understand, and I'm still probably going to enjoy it, but it's at the same time, it's just we don't have a lot of options anyway, so... Which sort of sucks. I mean, if Sami Zayn didn't get injured, he probably would have been on the main roster by now.
Good point, fair point.
I want to see him and Owens go at it on the main roster and actually have, people complain about repeating rivalries, but I don't think, as long as the rivalries are still good, then I don't care, because you look at people like Owens and Sami Zayn who have been doing this for so long, who've been going at it in blood feuds forever, but they still manage to make it good. You still manage to have the fans tune in. Whereas John Cena versus Randy Orton is just because it's just, I don't know.
You feel like it's been done to death?
But in the same instance, so is Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, but they've still made it interesting.
How much of that do you think falls on Vince McMahon?
I don't know.
Because Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, their feuds haven't had that Vince McMahon umbrella over them, whereas Cena and Orton have.
True, most of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens' feud have either been under Sinclair Broadcasting or under Ring of Honor. I don't know if they were with Sinclair Broadcasting at the time, but under Ring of Honor, or they've been under Triple H's guidance.
With NXT.
Yeah.
So it's a factor.
True,
that's all I'm saying.
But also, you also bring in a potential big WrestleMania with the new signings.
Yes, I was actually going to get into that after. Well, we'll go back into those. We'll go over who's been announced for the Rumble that you're already not a big fan of. But yes,
it's not that I'm not a big fan of.
You're disappointed with the lack of options.
Yeah,
And there are a litany of reasons for that, and we'll probably end up going over them over the course of the next couple of weeks.
This is going to be like, we're going to look back on this year, and it's either going to be the best or worst WrestleMania we've seen in a while.
Well,
because I feel like in the end it's WrestleMania, so WWE's got to find a way to make it work, especially because it's such a spectacle now. You can't afford to have a bad Mania.
In this case, in front of a potential legitimate 100,000 plus people.
Yeah.
No offense to those in the Pontiac Silverdome.
Yeah, maybe we'll actually see Rock versus Undertaker finally, which I was surprised they never did something like that.
Well, not with Mania. I mean, they've faced off on a few occasions.
No, but I mean, at Mania though, why didn't Stone Cold ever try to go up against Taker for the streak, or why didn't Taker versus Austin at WrestleMania 18 probably would have done a lot better than, I don't know.
It was the timing of things. I mean,
Yeah.
WrestleMania 18 was 2002. There was a lot of influx of guys from WCW. That's why you saw Scott Hall in there at that point. You saw the resurgence of the NWO. That's where you had Rock and Hogan.
Yeah.
But that's another story for another day.
Yeah, we have a show to do.
Well, yeah, I was going to say we're trying to do it here. And one of the big stories from this show over the course of the past week, which I know we've been putting off for the better part of a half hour now, the 4 major international names that have been rumored to sign with WWE. This all started with the Wrestling Observer reporting on Monday that WWE was working on signing AJ Styles, Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Pop.
Calm yourself there.
I'm fine. I'm just thinking about the reaction of all the, internet fans and Mark Kayfabe and all that who probably will need a change of clothing after hearing those names being announced or potentially most likely being signed.
It was very well done on keeping that clean. I do have to give you credit for that.
Thank you. Even if we can, bleep it out or edit it, you need to still have that mindset.
Exactly. You've come along so far. You've learned so much. Makes me proud.
Okay, you can stop. Just read the story.
Makes me so proud.
Just read the story.
Man, won't even let me have that emotional moment.
I was just. It's 9 o'clock at night. I probably shouldn't have taken that potty break in between taping segments.
Wow, the fourth wall it's just rubble at this point.
I don't care.
I'll edit it out later. It's
no,
fine.
we shouldn't. We shouldn't be keeping things from these hard-working fans who deserve to listen to us go on a tired rampage because it's what
I think that they can stand to listen about what goes on in the porcelain room there. I'm just saying.
I didn't go into details. I just said potty break.
Anyway, all 4 men appeared on the New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 10 event earlier this week, which I know wasn't as hyped as the Wrestle Kingdom 9 from last year, but GFW and Jim Ross weren't a part of it.
Yeah. GFW and their 9-guy roster.
Something like that. Furthering the rumors was a story on WWE.com addressing the potential signings. In the WWE story, it reads that the Office of WWE Chief Operating Officer and Executive Vice President of Talent Relations, Triple H, declined to comment on the rumors. The story also notes that Styles, Gallows, and Anderson's affiliation with New Japan's Bullet Club faction. I'm sure most people are familiar with that.
It's funny because the more and more this story gets hyped, the more and more I feel like it's going to happen because even on Finn Balor's social media page, there's a picture of him on Instagram holding open the door of the WWE Performance Center in his Bullet Club t-shirt, looking at the time almost like, and it's even captioned, they should have been here by now.
Well, the reason that's important is that NXT's Finn Balor wrestled for New Japan as Prince Devitt and was a part of that Bullet Club
He was
faction.
the creator of the Bullet Club.
The creator of the Bullet, yeah. He wasn't just a client, he was also the president.
Yeah.
Take the Cy Sperling and Hair Club for Men line. Yeah, I know, it's from before your... Oh, that's right. We still have to sit down and watch WrestleMania 10.
We don't have to. We do have to at WrestleMania 10. I don't know why I thought of another...
You were thinking 11, which I said that I swore I would never subject you to.
Thank God.
Voted on this show by the listeners as the worst WrestleMania in history.
Yeah.
See, I remember these things, usually. The story also stated that the addition of Styles, Nakamura, Anderson, and Gallows would represent one of the most significant bulk talent acquisitions in WWE history. End quote. Now, for me, it ranks up there with the Radicals. making their debut in WWE back in early 2000. You remember Chris Benoit, Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko, and Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah,
that was a heck of a foursome that came in.
That was. And I can't really think of any other big bulk, talent acquisitions after that, at least in recent memory. Well, maybe along the lines of, I guess the three they brought to NXT, which were Finn Balor, Hideo Itami, and Kevin Owens.
Yeah, Tommy's another one who's out with an injury.
Oh, right. But and that's another thing. It sucks when NXT superstars get injured because that just delays their debut on Raw and SmackDown. It's funny.
Main roster, that sort
you
of
look
thing.
at Kevin Owens, and he's been there the least out of all of them, and he made it to the main roster the fastest.
Go figure.
Yeah, he made the quickest entry, and I'm pretty sure Balor has got to. He's on as soon as he loses the NXT title, they're shooting his butt right up to the main roster as well.
Well, they do need the help. Now, not everybody seems to be on board with the rumored signings if they are to go down. Of all people, or of all entities, Forbes, like Forbes magazine. Yeah, they actually wrote an article on their website saying, and I'm reading the headline right here, WWE has no business signing Shinsuke Nakamura and Bullet Club.
Forbes? What? Forbes?
Yeah, well, they know a lot about money, and they're obviously paying attention to WWE stock.
But, yeah, I understand stock and money, but on wrestling talent, it's, oh, God, they better...
I'll give you a little bit more on it.
I
was going to say, I'll give you a little bit more on it. It starts off, WWE is doubling down on age. Multiple media outlets reporting the same thing that we pretty much said here. These signings will certainly pique interest in Japan, where the WWE Network recently launched. That was a story I was going to get into a little bit later, but we can quickly go over it now. Germany and Japan had the launching of the WWE Network this past Tuesday, so that might be part of the reasoning behind it. The article in Forbes goes on to say details of the contracts are currently unknown as WWE doesn't release that information. Should Styles and his peers go straight to the main roster, their downsides are expected to be at least $125,000. Great for hardcore wrestling fans, but befuddling to anyone paying attention.
Why is that?
The average age of this grizzled quartet is 35. The highest-profile signings, Styles and Nakamura, come with major red flags as they head to an already decimated roster. Styles dealt with a back injury as recently as December. Nakamura, affectionately nicknamed the King of Strong Style for his physical offense, was recently hobbled as well. His most recent ailment was an elbow injury in July that caused him to miss one match during the G1 Climax tournament. They now join a WWE and or NXT roster currently dealing with big-name injuries to Hideo Itami, Seth Rollins, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, and Sami Zayn, who recently returned to NXT following an 8-month layoff with a dislocated shoulder. If WWE wasn't already an app, it would be WebMD.
I did hear a lot about, who could you pair up against Nakamura that would be willing to take some of those strong style hits. Now, I have one person that comes to mind, Ambrose. You look at somebody, you get a couple guys from, even Owens maybe. You look at guys that have been in some very hardcore matchups. Like, Owens not as much, but Ambrose is he's known for his deathmatch background. He'd probably be willing to take, in fact, he'd probably insist that he takes some of those strong style strikes,
It's certainly a possibility, but that's just Forbes, again, providing the counter-argument. I mean, there is something to be said for that, whether it's the age that you're looking at or the injuries, but you can see that with a lot of the different guys.
So pretty much pretty much what you're saying is WWE shouldn't sign anybody with a strong work rate.
I think they're just saying taking somebody at a higher age with injury history is a concern. I mean, look at what happened. I mean, granted, this is an extreme example, but look at what happened with Sting and Night of Champions back in September.
This ain't...
I know. I said it's an extreme example.
I'm going to say, this ain't ballet, though. This is pro wrestling. Of course you're going to have injury history. Like, anybody that's made it to WWE and hasn't had an injury yet in their career, I'm very surprised. It's about...
It is, but Forbes is simply saying, and I'm directly quoting from the article, this roster does not need help getting hurt.
It also depends on what move they were doing, how they injured themselves. Maybe they...
Oh, I know. There are a lot more factors that Forbes is not necessarily as familiar with.
Like the
and
fact that...
I get that, you get that. I'm
No, I understand.
I'm throwing it out there.
I'm throwing it out there, too, but I'm
counter-arguing Forbes.
Counter-arguing Forbes. I can't speak today. Counter-arguing Forbes is counter-argument, you know?
You're countering their counter.
Yeah.
It's like going from a wrist lock to a hammer lock to a side headlock or something like that.
I'm chain wrestling with Forbes magazine.
You're verbally chain wrestling with Forbes magazine.
Yeah. And it's, you got to factor in that injuries can happen at any time. It could be the way you land. You could injure yourself on something as simple as, like...
dropping an elbow.
Yeah. But it's also the fact this is pro wrestling, and it could happen to anybody.
This is true. It could happen to you or I.
Yeah. God forbid that happens so early in our careers, Yeah,
you ain't kidding. We'll get more into that coming up in the third segment, or at least right on the other side. But I'm going to end up having a verbal chain wrestling match with our program director, Sean Lerman, if we don't take a break.
Yeah, true.
So we better go ahead and do that. But first, got to tell you about my favorite beer spot, the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol. Broken Goblet Brewing, breaking your perspective on how you experience craft beer, because broken can be beautiful. Now, Star Wars fans, this is your last chance. The last few drops of A Disturbance in the Force Imperial Stout are flowing. Head on over to the Goblet and get it while you can. And if you're looking for a wall calendar, because we're here early in 2016, and if you're like me, you've probably waited until close to the last minute to go, oh, shoot, I need a new wall calendar. You've had those procrastinating moments too, Lucas.
No, but I just asked for one for Christmas, and my parents aren't going to say no because it's in sort of a semi-necessity.
Exactly. It's practical. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I can come up with these things real well. But if you want a wall calendar or want to contribute to a good cause, the Broken Goblet can help you there. What started out as a lost bet by co-owners Jay and Bubba has become so much more. The calendars are $10 each, and every penny of the proceeds goes to the Philadelphia chapter of the ALS Association. Open Wednesdays through Sundays. It's always a good time at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. Check them out on the web at brokengoblet.com. Broken Goblet Brewing, the semi-official brewery of Pro Wrestling Weekly. We'll be back with a little bit more here as we're already closing up on the top of the hour. This is what happens when Lucas and I get together. The time just flies on by.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will on the drive down to the Monster Factory as well. We'll tell you more about that on the other side, plus today in wrestling history, birthdays, and quite a bit more. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, January 9. On this date in 1995, WWF Monday Night Raw aired live from Houston, Texas. In the main event, Howard Finkel defeated Harvey Whippleman in a tuxedo match. On this date in 2000, ECW held its Guilty as Charged pay-per-view. In the main event, Mike Awesome pinned Spike Dudley to retain the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. On this date in 2005, WWE held its New Year's Revolution pay-per-view. In the main event, Triple H defeated Edge, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, Batista, and Randy Orton in an Elimination Chamber match to win the vacant World Heavyweight Championship. On this date in 2011, TNA held its Genesis pay-per-view. In the main event, Mr. Anderson defeated Jeff Hardy to win the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. This has been Today in Wrestling History, January 9. Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro here. Finishing things up as by now we're probably already at the Monster Factory, and for good reason, because tonight's the night. That's right, it's the Monster Factory's MF Cup event. It all goes down tonight at the Monster Factory, 541 Mantua Avenue in Paulsboro, New Jersey. Now, what is the MF Cup, you might be asking? Well, you shouldn't be, because if you've listened the last couple of weeks, then you'd know. It's a giant trophy that will be awarded to the winners of an 8-tag team single elimination tournament. And the brackets have already been released. In first round matchup action, you've got the Extra Guys taking on the reunited for one night only Shooters, Inc. Also, Clutch Adams and a mystery partner, or a yet-to-be-determined partner, it just has question marks here on the bracket, take on a mystery team. a lot of mystery involved in that match.
Yeah.
And then you've got Team Pazuzu against South Philly's Finest, and finally the Down Boys taking on Nick Westgate and Anthony Bennett. Those are your first-round matchups. Obviously, you'll have the semifinals and finals in the same night as well, plus the Monster Factory Girls title on the line as the MV, Miranda Vinette, taking on Deonna Purrazzo. It's all at the Monster Factory, 541 Mantua Avenue, Paulsboro, New Jersey. It goes on tonight. Doors open at 6. The action starts at 7. Tickets available at the door and online at monsterfactory.org. All the front row seats are sold out, so you definitely want to get in early if you haven't already. Check out the Monster Factory on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and make sure you come on down tonight where you'll see great wrestling action, and you'll get to see Lucas and me there as well.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you seem so enthralled. Okay, you're on the verge of tapping out. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I know, this is a little bit late for you here. Well, one other, since we're talking tournaments here, I guess the other big tournament to talk about that also, oddly enough, is going on tonight, but not anywhere around here, a little bit further south. Courtesy of Ring of Honor, the Top Prospect Tournament. That's right, it's tonight down in Concord, North Carolina, with 11 of the fastest rising stars in professional wrestling, including a YouTube-exclusive 4-way Future of Honor bout, which will determine who will assume the 8th and final entry in this year's quarterfinals. And 3 of those 4 participants have already been determined, as you've got Outlaw Ken Phoenix, David Starr, and Monster Factory's own Leon St. Giovanni, LSG.
Man, we haven't seen a lot of LSG in the past. It's very interesting that he's going to pop up for this, though. This is going to be fun.
It's of note that the winner of this tournament will earn a 1-year contract with Ring of Honor and obviously be featured on Ring of Honor TV. So this is a huge opportunity for all the folks involved. Also in the tournament, you've got Jason Kincaid, you've got Brian Fury, Leo Rush, a very notable high flyer. Action Ortiz is going to be in it. And a couple of Monster Factory alums in Shaheem Ali and your boy, well, and my boy too, Punisher Martinez.
Yeah, I really think Punisher is going to be the one that's going to win this tournament. As much as I like LSG and Shaheem, they're good guys, but Punisher has, I feel like, the most momentum going into this tournament. He's had an impressive year with the Monster Factory. He's done a couple of Ring of Honor shows. He's done a couple of shows at LCW. He's a really fun to watch in the ring, like I've said before. This guy, he's one to watch, definitely.
Well, and he's even said he's just there to hurt people. I mean, a lot of people are talking about how they're the best. He's just there to break bones and crack skulls.
Well, I mean, they don't call him the Punisher for nothing,
This is true. I know I wouldn't want to square off against him. Not even learning at the Monster Factory.
Yeah.
But enough about this past week. So, yeah, all that goes on tonight down in Concord, North Carolina, so I don't think you're going to necessarily make it down there, even if you left now, because it's a heck of a drive down to North Carolina from our area. So that's where, the Monster Factory spreading out worldwide in a number of different scenarios and locations and things of that nature. So a lot of fun things you definitely want to check out. Some other fun little tidbits. Did you know that Vince McMahon recently attended an NFL game?
I did, actually. I think I did see.
Oh, were you watching the Cowboys game and you saw him and Triple H and Stephanie and Jerry Jones's box?
My dad called me out to see it. Whenever there's something wrestling related, he'll always be like, "Hey, Luke, come out and see this."
Yeah, they were in Jerry Jones's box. Of course, the game was played at AT&T Stadium, which will host WrestleMania 32 12 weeks from tomorrow. Man, the time just flies on by. The McMahons, however, didn't bring the Cowboys much fortune as they lost to the playoff-bound Washington Redskins 34-23. Oh, well, what can you do? All right, we got a couple of minutes left here. Just about time for your favorite segment.
Birthdays!
Yeah, that was very enthusiastic. All righty. Got 3 of them for you.
Really?
Yeah, 3.
How many of them are actually wrestlers?
2.
Okay.
On this date in 1962, Luke Poirier was born. Who's that?
Yeah, who is that?
The French-Canadian wrestler best known in the WWF and USWA as Sniper of the Truth Commission back in 97, because as we all know...
It all goes back to 97.
Most certainly. Anyway, he turns 54 today. On this date in 1968, Cesar Cuauhtémoc González Barón was born.
Who?
The former WCW cruiserweight Mexican wrestler and villain in the Jack Black movie Nacho Libre known as Silver King turns 48 today.
Mil Mascara?
No, Silver King.
Silver King.
Mil Mascara is definitely not 48. He is definitely a lot older than that.
I'm sorry. No, I thought, I don't know. I thought Silver King was the name of the guy and the name of his character.
No, Silver King was what he wrestled as in WCW. I forget what his character name was in Nacho Libre, but that would require me having seen the movie, and you know how I am with movies.
Is it a movie? Yeah. Probably haven't seen it. Yeah.
Accurate. And finally, on this date in 1976, Todd Grisham was born. The current ESPN personality and former WWE play-by-play commentator and backstage interviewer turns 40 today. So there you have it. Birthdays. Thank you so much for listening. Come on down to the Monster Factory to check out Lucas, myself, and a lot of awesome wrestling action, not necessarily in order of importance. In fact, it's probably the reverse order of importance.
There's a lot of tag team wrestling, though.
Yeah, if you're a fan of tag team wrestling, you definitely want to check this out. And you can check us out next week, back in studio, live and in person, unless there's some reason that Lucas won't be there. We'll find out soon enough.
You're not going to let me live this down, are you?
Is there anything that we don't let each other live down, honestly?
That I can mention on air? Yeah.
Okay,
that
good
I
point.
can't mention on air, my bad.
I knew what you meant. All right, that's going to do it for us. Stay tuned. Ted Efaw, who has graciously listened to us for the last hour in studio, thank you to him. He's got the Country Roads coming up next here on 1490 WBCB. We'll be back next week with more Pro Wrestling Weekly. For now, play us out, Nutsy.
1 o'clock and all